We explain when we grew up learning that love was conditional, something you had to earn by being reasonable, good, easy, understandable. So the first thing to understand is this. When you stop explaining yourself, you are not becoming cold. You are returning to yourself. And that return changes everything. Here's the paradox. The more you explain, the less powerful you feel. And the less powerful you feel, the more you explain. It becomes a loop, a nervous system loop. You say something, someone reacts, their face tightens, their tone shifts, they pull away, and something inside you panics, not loudly but subtly. Your body doesn't say, I disagree. Your body says, I'm in danger. So you start talking not to clarify, to stabilize, to repair, to prevent abandonment. And this is where we need to be very honest. Some people don't want clarity. They want control. Some people don't want understanding. They want you to doubt yourself. And if that sentence hit you in the chest, keep listening, because we're about to separate two very different situations that your nervous system has been mixing together for years. One, you were with a decent person, but you're both triggered. Two, you're with someone who benefits from you over-explaining. And in both situations, the habit of explaining can keep you stuck. Let me show you how it starts. Imagine a child who has a big feeling. Maybe she's sad. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she's angry because something felt unfair. But the adults around her, overwhelmed, distracted, stressed, emotionally unavailable. So when she expresses herself, she gets one of three messages. Stop being dramatic. Don't talk back. Go to your room until you calm down. What does the child learn? Not how to communicate. She learns, my feelings are too much. My truth costs me connection. If I want closeness, I have to be easier. So she begins to explain her feelings before she even feels them. I'm not mad, I'm just tired. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry, please don't be upset. And the child becomes an expert at one thing. Reading the room, not reading her own body. Now hold that thought, because this becomes your adult pattern. As an adult, when you sense someone is displeased, you don't simply state your truth. You start managing their reaction. You start pre-apologizing. You add extra details. You soften every sentence. You over-justify. You give evidence that you're a good person. And you don't even realize you're doing it, because to your nervous system, it feels normal. It feels like love. But it's not love. It's fear wearing the mask of communication. Let's make it real. A woman sends a simple text. I won't be able to make it tonight. And immediately she adds, not because I don't want to see you, I really do. I've just had a long day and my head hurts and I'm so sorry, and I promise we can do tomorrow if you want, and I'm not trying to disappoint you. Do you feel what's happening? The sentence isn't about plans anymore. It's about safety. It's about preventing a reaction. It's about keeping connection. And in a moment, I'll show you the exact sign that tells you whether you were communicating or pleading. But first, here's the brutal truth. You can explain yourself perfectly and still be misunderstood by someone who has already decided who you are. If someone is committed to misreading you, your clarity will not heal that. Your clarity will only exhaust you. So what happens when you stop explaining? At first, anxiety rises, because silence feels like danger. Because if you grew up having to earn love, then being simple feels risky. If you don't over-explain, what if they get mad? What if they leave? What if they think you're selfish? And underneath those questions is one deeper fear. What if I'm not lovable unless I perform? That's the real wound, not the argument, not the relationship. The wound is, I have to do something to deserve being held. Now here's the micro loop I want you to hold. When you stop explaining, you reveal what the relationship is actually built on. Because if the relationship is built on mutual respect, your simplicity will be received. If the relationship is built on you managing their emotions, your simplicity will be punished, and the reaction tells you the truth. This is why you stop explaining. It's not just a boundary, it's a test of reality. Let me give you a story. She's the kind of woman who is always understanding, always fair, always seeing both sides. In her relationships, she becomes the translator of her own pain. She can be hurt, and still explain why it makes sense that he did it. She can feel neglected and still defend him. She can be disappointed and still comfort him. And one day she tries something new, not a game, not a tactic, just a moment of self-respect. He says something sharp, something dismissive, and instead of launching into a 5-minute explanation about how she didn't mean it that way, and how she's tired and how she's been stressed and how she's sensitive because of her pasts, she says calmly, "That doesn't work for me," and she stops. The silence after that sentence is loud, because now there's nothing for him to argue with. There's no long paragraph to twist, no extra details to weaponize, just one clean truth. And what happens next is what tells you everything. One of two things happens. If he's emotionally capable, he gets curious. He pauses. He might not like it, but he feels the boundary. He adjusts. He asks what you need. But if he needs control, the mask slips. He accuses you of being dramatic. He says you're overreacting. He says you're too sensitive. He might even say, "Here we go again." And notice, none of that is a response to what you said. It's a response to you not performing. Because some people don't fear your words. They fear your self-possession. And if that hit, here's the next loop. The moment you stop explaining, you stop giving people the map to manipulate you. Now, I'm not saying every person is manipulative, but I am saying this. If you have a history of emotional neglect, you may confuse intensity with intimacy. You may confuse someone's strong reaction with them caring. You may confuse chaos with passion. And in that confusion, you will explain and explain and explain, trying to win safety from someone who cannot offer. So what's the alternative? The alternative is not silence as punishment. It's silence as self-respect. It's the difference between "I'm not talking to you to make you suffer" and "I'm not over-explaining to abandon myself." That's a massive difference. Here's a simple rule. If you're explaining to be understood, you can't feel grounded. If you're explaining to be accepted, you feel frantic. If you're explaining to stop someone from leaving, you're not communicating, you're bargaining. And bargaining is the language of a child who didn't feel secure. So let's talk about the body, because the body always tells the truth before the mind admits it. When you're about to over-explain, your body does something. Maybe your throat tightens. Maybe your heart speeds up. Maybe you feel that familiar urge to fix it right now. Maybe you can't rest until they respond. That's not love. That's the alarm system. That's implicit memory. The body remembers what the mind normalizes. If you grew up in an environment where disapproval meant withdrawal, your nervous system treats tension as a threat, so you explain to reduce threat. But here's the twist. This is the part most people miss. Over-explaining often increases threat, because it tells the other person, "I'm not sure I'm allowed to exist as I am." And some people consciously or unconsciously use that. They lean into it. They wait for you to shrink. So what happens when you stop? At first, the anxiety rises, and then it falls, because your body learns something new. I can hold my truth without being abandoned by myself. That's the deepest shift. Not whether the other person stays, but whether you stay with you. Now let's make this practical, because I want you to leave with tools, not just insight. Here are 5 ways to stop explaining without becoming cold. First, the one sentence. Boundary. Choose a sentence you can say without defending. Examples. "That doesn't work for me." "I'm not available for that." "I hear you." My answer is still no. I'm not discussing it in that tone. Then stop. This is important. Don't add the extra paragraph. Your nervous system will beg you to add it. That's the old pattern trying to survive. Second, the pause before reply. If someone triggers you, don't answer immediately. Not because you're playing games, because you're interrupting the reflex. Take a breath, feel your feet, unclench your jaw. Let your body catch up to the present. Then respond. Third, the name the feeling, not the story. Instead of explaining every detail, say, I feel pressured. I feel dismissed. I feel unsafe in this conversation. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to convince them. You only need to tell the truth. Fourth, choose your audience. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people treat your honesty like a debate. Stop offering your heart to people who only know how to argue with it. And fifth, the repair with yourself. After you stop explaining, you might feel guilt. You might feel like you were rude. You might replay the moment and think, should I have said more? That's where you practice something radical. You soothe the part of you that equates simplicity with danger. You say to yourself, it's okay to be simple. It's okay to have needs. It's okay to take up space, because here's the truth. A healthy person doesn't require you to over-explain your humanity. Now let me close the two loops I opened at the start. The emotional loop was, why does stopping feel terrifying? Because for many of us, love used to be conditional, and stopping the performance feels like risking abandonment. The intellectual loop was, what actually changes when you stop? You reveal the foundation. If the foundation is respect, the relationship strengthens. If the foundation is control, the relationship cracks. Either way, you get the truth, and truth is kinder than confusion. Now, here's the ending I want you to remember. You're not too much for needing clarity, tenderness, consistency. You just learned too early that asking was dangerous. So you became the kind of person who explains instead of asks. You bargains instead of stands. But you can unlearn that, not by becoming hard, by becoming honest.